So welcome to Engaging Math Education. Props to you for coming after a long school day. I am AnnMaria De Mars. I'm president of 7th Generation Games. When we started, I was half of the original software development team writing the software. I'm now in California because I was in North Dakota for 7 years, first at Minot State and then at the University of Jamestown, and it was really cold. So also, I got married and moved back here. This is my email. We will send you after the session a copy of this PowerPoint. Feel free to text, email, anytime, any questions that you have. I am happy to hear from you. As Scott said, I have taught math at all levels from 5th grade through doctoral students. Math is kind of my thing. And I'm going to talk about the problems that you have. And if you say you don't have these problems, I'm going to be extremely skeptical. Even the very best math teachers I know have an issue with student engagement, with students just not doing the work. That I travel all around the country to visit math classes. I teach my own math classes, and you have those students who just turn in their paper with nothing but their name on it. I was talking to a teacher the other day, and she said, at least you get their name on it. But just getting work turned in is difficult. Getting students to show up for class. Scott did his warm up with getting people to turn their cameras on. Any of you who taught online over the last year or two did a lot of that. Scott, would you please turn on your camera? Rachel, would you please turn on your camera? Rachel, you're an adult. You don't have to turn on your camera if you don't want. But you know what I mean. You sat there and you talked to black boxes with a white name over it. You asked students questions. You got crickets. You gave them assignments and they didn't get turned in. Everybody has that problem with at least some of their students. And as the year goes on, it gets harder, right? Because students get tired too. So there's that problem. Then there's including place-based education. And that can mean including Lakota language and culture, including Ojibwe history, including things that relate to your students. It can also be, like my grandson. He's a great kid. He's 15. He's Native Hawaiian because his dad's Native Hawaiian. And he said to me, Grandma, I'm not going to be a math person. I'm not going to be a professor. He wants to take over the farm. He's a great kid. And that's what he does. And so when we talked about math, because he's in the 9th grade, I said, you and your dad built a corral, didn't you? Did you just go down and just throw out however much money that they said at Home Depot? No, you calculated out. You figured how many fence posts, how many yards of wire, how much each cost. So place-based education can be relating to the geography of where you live. It can be relating to your life, like my grandson who is, on the farm, or it could be relating to your history and culture. But where do you find the time to fit that in the curriculum when you're under pressure to raise kids' math scores, raise kids' reading scores? How do you do that without taking something else out? So I'm going to answer to that. And then there's just the time to write lesson plans to accommodate student differences. When I teach 8th grade, I very commonly will have kids from the 4th grade level to the 8th grade level in math. So how do you find the time to reach the needs of all of those kids? And then I'm sure this happened to a lot of you. On Thursday, you were told, come Monday, your kids are learning from home. And nobody, just fess up. If you were asked that question, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? In 2015, nobody got it right. You did not sign up to be teaching online, my guess. Now, I taught online graduate school for a lot of years, but I knew I was going to do it. They didn't tell me on Thursday. So these are problems almost everybody has. Now, Growing Math, you may know, if you don't, here's great news for you. It's funded by the US Department of Agriculture. And what they said is teachers need stuff that's ready to go. They have too much on their plates. They need lessons that are standards lined, that can help with engagement. And we want them, of course, because we're the Department of Agriculture, integrated with agricultural science. And because we're working with schools in states like North Dakota that have mandated curriculum to include Indigenous culture, and even if it's not mandated, students are more interested if they're learning about things that relate to their life. So we have lessons that are ready to go, and they're available for teaching in person, hybrid, or remote. If you have students who are learning at home, we're set up for that. Growing Math also has data reporting, so you can see not just what your students are learning, but how much time they're spending on tasks. Tech support, we pride ourselves on getting back to you within 1 business day. I'm the president. I gave you my email. If you don't get somebody who doesn't get back to you within a business day, don't feel shy about texting me or emailing me, and I will get on that. And the other thing is paid training. We always hear, and I hope you do sign up and get paid, because this was a little bit of an arm wrestling match, which I won, saying teachers are the experts, right? When we developed Growing Math, we said to the National Science Foundation, before you develop another thing, before you spend another dime, you should send people out into their classrooms and you should ask teachers, what is it that you need? And they said, that's a great idea. You should do that, AnnMaria. Here's a bunch of plane tickets. Did I mention I live in Santa Monica by the beach, and they sent me to North Dakota and South Dakota and Minnesota and Michigan in January? So if you ever question if I'm dedicated. But out of that, we said, look, as we develop this product, we should get teacher input and teacher feedback. And oh, by the way, we should pay them, because if you say teachers are the experts and they're spending their time on the weekends and after school, they should get paid. So yeah, we won that one. 10% of the money from Growing Math goes to pay teacher stipends. So Growing Math is free. It's a platform to give educators tools and training. It's focused on tribal areas, rural communities, and urban cities that have a significant Indigenous population. So there is a lot of material that is talking about Ojibwe history and culture, Lakota, Dakota history and culture. And there's everything, almost everything is integrated with math. It includes either math or agricultural science or Indigenous history and culture. And I'd say every lesson we have includes at least 2 of those areas, because we can't give you more time in the day, but if you can teach social studies and math at the same time, it kind of has that impact. Just real quickly, a question people ask often is, if we get paid, how would we get paid? So the Growing Math stipend's $150. You do virtual training. You do virtual training, that's today, and do 2 hours of follow-up activities. That is either using the Growing Math software with your class and giving us your feedback. I had a great time, even though it was 6:30 by the time I had to get up. I know you all are teachers, so you don't feel bad for me, but I normally don't get up there. But I had a great time visiting with a classroom at Pine Ridge, where I'm happy to drop into your class and talk to your students. And the students gave us a lot of feedback on the games themselves and what they'd like to see. So do 2 hours of activities with your students. And then there's an exit survey. Make sure you give us your address, because we do mail you a check. And in that exit survey, you tell us what worked, what didn't work, and what you would like to see as a priority. And we really use that information. So when we started, we thought teachers would want more curriculum. They would want more games, covering more sections of math, more math standards. But it was the middle of kids learning from home. And at the time, teachers said, we want more data. We want to know how much time our kids are spending in it, not just how many problems they got right, but how many they attempted. So the feedback from you does drive the priorities. So there's that. And then any questions, anything you need, if you have a bug, there is Growing Math at 7generationgames.com. There's the email. There is, and as I said, you don't have to take notes. We will send you a copy of this. There's the phone number you can call or text, and someone will get back to you within 1 business day. And if they don't, you have my personal email and I will have them fired. No, I won't really have them fired, but I will follow up and find out what's going on. So that